Ladies and gentlemen, I am reaching out to you with a clear desire to establish contact and become friends and participants in what I believe I have to offer you. First, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Milan Vidojevic. I am 75 years old and I live in Belgrade, Serbia. By profession, I am a writer with 14 published books and a TV author with over 300 shows produced for television, radio and YouTube. The main topics I deal with and analyze include the New World Order, religion, history, philosophy and culture in general, as these are the fields that significantly shape our lives, desires and aspirations. This is where all our success and failures lie. In addition, I am a Templar Knight, a French Martinist Order Knight, and the Grand Master of the Sovereign Order of the Temple of St. John the Evangelist. As the great Serbian sage Archbishop Sava said in the 13th century, "We are the East to the West and the West to the East." In that same spirit, I stand on this crossroads, capable of seeing both sides without prejudice or bias. This is why I want to produce these shows. The world we live in is on the verge of self-destruction. For several years now, signs of collapse and destruction have been evident, along with a lack of clear vision on how to solve global problems. The world is divided into two ideological blocks, the East and the West, and the confrontation between them is intensifying, today to the brink of global war. Why don't we understand each other? Why are our relations burdened with cynicism, arrogance, and resurgence of racism? Why are neo-Nazism, neo-colonialism, and the battle for resources and technologies once again being politically promoted? What bothers me most is that empathy has vanished and emotions have been pushed out of both communication and private relationship. All this had led me to reflect and search for the causes of this civilizational collapse. There are many questions that demand answers, starting with the seemingly banal but troubling: why is the world ruled by people with IQ of 95 or close to it? Who selects them, profiles them, and pushes them into a position of power? Could a world without politicians exist? Is that one of the modern utopias? Is it utopian to believe that all people should have the right to medical care? Why is health directly tied to money? Could there be anything more cynical than the belief if you have money, you'll get treated? If you don't, too bad. The same goes with education. Why is higher education dependent on wealth rather than talent? Money helps produce a semi-intelligent ruling class shaped by inherited wealth. What happened to talented children from the bottom of the social ladder? How many brilliant children were never given a chance? What is the future of humanity when it is shaped by the lowest prejudice, those that generate the petty everyday evils that flood and consume us? Why do so many people around the world dislike America? Why are all of America's friends either coerced or self-interested? Do all billionaires share the same psychological profile? Greed, vanity, lack of empathy, and arrogance in public appearances reveal a psychological weakness, a character that hasn't matured alongside their wealth. Perhaps developed character becomes an obstacle to growing wealth. Why is the two-party system in the US called democracy, while a single-party system in another country is labeled dictatorship? Why not just openly declare a dictatorship instead of stealing votes from one another? Why does Egypt need pyramids? How has no Texas billionaire yet dismantled the Great Pyramid of Giza and rebuilt it on his ranch? Why are European and American museums so rich? They are filled with artifacts plundered over centuries from small indigenous people and cultures that don't know how to preserve them. And then there is the most current crisis in the Middle East. Is the eternal conflict of hatred and bloodshed in the Middle East a result of the Crusades? All wars in the Middle East have been religious wars, both in the Middle Ages and in our time. Colonial influence has always been tragic for the people of the Middle East. Abuse, exploitation, broken promises, and disappointment were constantly in their historical experience. It is precisely there that all Islamic terrorist organizations were created by the intelligence agency of the Western countries. That is exactly where we will begin our analysis, not only geographically, but taught through a deeper examination of the various doctrines that have led to this situation. I hope I won't be too much of a burden if I contact you once a week, sparking through on certain topic. Let us look at the roots of some events and then reassess our views so we may better understand one another.